Without further ado, Mr. Rock the Mic, now Mr. Blogging the Boys, RJ Ochoa, via StreamYard in the Cowboys t-shirt, joins R&R in the morning. RJ, what's up, my brother?
My fellow RJ, happy Friday. Hope all is well.
Yes.
Hope you're recovering from a great high school game last night.
Yeah.
Hope it didn't keep you up too late. So, yeah, life is good. The Cowboys play today.
Absolutely. Let's start off right here. Quote, to reiterate, this problem was predictable if you've been paying attention for the last 6 years. The Dallas Cowboys are one of the only teams who will walk out of their house knowing it's raining, not dress for it, or bring an umbrella, and then complain that they are wet. When will they learn? RJ, you're such a nice guy. That's how you feel?
It's funny. I received a few tweets yesterday from people saying, I love scorched earth, RJ. I love pissed off, RJ. Today remains a really frustrating day for the Cowboys. This really was predictable. I mean, this Tyron Smith situation. I feel greatly for Tyron. Obviously, I wish him
we all
health
do, for
and
sure.
happiness. Right, and so I heard for him that he's physically hurt, and I'm sure it's quite the emotional experience for him. Feel like he let his team down and whatnot, but I mean, like, the Cowboys set him up for that. The Cowboys set him up to kind of be the fall guy. The Cowboys set up Josh Fall to be the person that every fan says he sucks, get a new tackle. The Cowboys set up everybody else to sort of bear the blame and hold all the sins for their wrongdoings and whatnot. And so I just don't know. This isn't exaggeration. This isn't hyperbole. This isn't like trying to be funny or charming or silly or whatever. Their entire plan was at tackle. We're going to cut Lyle Collins, and then we're going to spend the 5th round pick that we get from the Amari Cooper trade that we pulled off, to a huge level of success. We're going to spend that on Matt Waletzko. The two of them, Waletzko and Josh Fall, have 0 combined NFL experience. And people love to say, Rudy, like, oh, well, how many teams have, starting caliber swing tackle? How many teams have a left tackle who's missed time 6 years in a row? So that was the plan. Like, I truly am amazed that at some point, a number of people sat in a room, somebody said, hey, guys, I think we should do this. And somebody else said, that's a good idea. Let's do it. Let's move forward. And so here we are. It's raining, they're wet, and we're the ones inside pissed off.
So for you, in your estimation, it's not about the fact that they didn't address it. It's just the fact that they didn't address it like a team that's trying to get over the hump. They addressed it like, to me, when you got the 5th round draft pick and you have Tyler Smith, I get it. That makes sense. But for you, did you want to see veterans brought in? Is that your beef? I'm trying to get to the bottom of it.
I mean, these are conflicting ideologies. Because to your point, people say, well, they drafted Tyler Smith. They drafted an heir apparent. Like,
see, that's what I've heard. Right.
Okay, cool. So they drafted a tackle. Great. Then they put him at guard. They gave him no work at tackle whatsoever. Like, you can't tell me they drafted him and played tackle in 2023, but it's 2022. So this was not the plan. Like, I hate people that are like, hey, this was all, like, they're good. They safeguarded themselves. No, if you want to do this, if you want to say Tyler Smith was supposed to be this kind of like, ambidextrous chess piece that you could put at tackle or guard, that wouldn't be ambidextrous. But then you should have kept Connor Williams. Why didn't you keep Connor Williams?
Well, because he was bad, RJ. In fairness to them keeping him, he was bad. Yes or no?
I maintain that he was much better than people think. He gets the rap for the penalties, and so like people are so unwilling to give him any benefit of the doubt. But I mean, I get it. But still, like you can't. Like to me, they feel like you ever play a video game like Super Mario, and you have like 3 lives, and you get to a point that's difficult, and you die. You're like, it's all good. I got 2 more lives. That was an experimental life. Yes. The Cowboys at the beginning of the level jumped off the cliff twice, and they were like, look at me. Look how big and bad I am. I'm going to go through one life, unforeseen. I don't know anything this level is going to throw at me, but I'm going to do it just because. You didn't have to do it this way. I mean, you have resources, you have cap space that you so preciously created to where you could have afforded yourself some sort of contingency or insurance plan.
Now, John McClain used to work for the Texans. He's done a bunch of jobs, a whole bunch of different gigs, and he still does. Now, yesterday he tweeted, and then after this, we're going to move on because there's some other things about Jerry I want to ask you about. But real quick, John McClain tweeted, hey, if I'm Nick Casario, I'm on the phone with the Cowboys, offering up Laramie Tunsil for 1. Is that sexy to you at all? Does that interest you at all, or that's not what you're looking for? Is like a first round draft pick type of left tackle?
Well, Rudy, I know that you're home tucked in bed at night every night at 9 p.m. Maybe even 8:30.
I gotta be.
Right, exactly. But you ever have a night where you're out, it's 2 a.m., you're starving. You know what I mean? Because
yes.
you've been studying or exercising or something, and you're like, that doesn't sound great, but I am starving. I will take any food right now. That's fine. You got Laramie Tunsil, and like, you know, when those moments, if like it's $20 for this slice of pizza, I don't care. Whatever. Like, let's do it. Like, I'm totally fine.
That's where
like,
you are. Okay.
And like, I would not enjoy that, obviously, but I would like to see some sort of, you know, understanding that this is a serious season. I mean, because that would imply like, okay, we realize we have to overpay because there's a lot on the line. I look at, you know, the Buffalo Bills as an example. The Bills lost their playoff game by 13 seconds. 13 seconds, an incredibly thin margin for error. And what did the Bills do? They said, we're going to get Von Miller because we're never going to lose a game by 13 seconds ever again. Do we have to overpay? Do we have to pay $20 for this slice of pizza? Who cares? Because at the end of the day, we're going to be full. We have the cash. Let's get it done. Let's eat. Let's go home. Let's fall asleep happy.
I like it. Now, one thing I didn't agree with, RJ, again, we're joined by RJ Ochoa, editor for Blogging the Boys. The one thing he was on with Stephen A yesterday while, you know, Stephen and Will McClay are working the phones trying to get a left tackle. Jerry's on the helicopter with Stephen A having a blast at First Take. Whatever. He's got a job to do. Would you be offended if you're Dak? I'm asking you to be Dak Prescott. Are you a tad bit offended that I've given you $160 million and then Jerry Jones goes and tells the entire nation that they go as Zeke goes?
I mean, I think that's a really difficult question for me, specifically being Dak Prescott, because Zeke's my best friend, right? Like, it's not like you're asking me about any person, you know what I mean? It happens to be somebody who I'm very, very close to. And I think, you know, that's part of what makes, you know, this nucleus of the team special and fun. I don't think so. Dak's not somebody who I think, you know, craves that kind of attention. He gets enough of it. So I don't think there's any ill will there on Dak's.
Well, do you agree with it?
I really don't.
Do you agree with it though?
No, of course I don't agree with it. Like, who could in their sound mind in the year 2022 think that's how you win and succeed in the NFL? I mean, but that's what the Cowboys are doing. They're trying to literally build off of a defense, a special teams unit, and a run game. I've never seen anybody want to be the Rex Grossman Chicago Bears so badly. Like, you know, you have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And you look at the way other teams are handling it. Other teams say this is such a precious commodity. Let's surround it with talent. Let's nurture it. Let's take care of it. But no, the Cowboys have no desire to do that. And it, you know, it could all just be huff and puff, but their actions demonstrate that it's not. I mean, their actions over the last 5 years demonstrate that they are going to run Zeke no matter what. They truly, in their heart of hearts, whoever you define they to be, believe that's the formula to success. You know, great friend of the station, Ari Temkin, he once said something to me about how Dan Bailey may have inadvertently made Jason Garrett more conservative just because he was so good, right? You could always trust Dan Bailey to convert different field goals. In some way, I think you could argue that the success of Emmitt Smith and those Cowboys was detrimental to the long-term growth of the team because they believe that's how you do it. I mean, when their greatest memories are associated with that type of football, we need one guy. He's got to be the tailback. He's got to be the bell cow. We got to feed him. And he gets stronger as the game goes on when everybody gets weaker. I mean, it's silly. It's archaic. It's you know, it's preferring to pedal like Fred Flintstone when you've got Formula One racers all around.
RJ, let me ask you this, man. As a diehard Cowboy fan, does Philly scare you this season?
I really, truly.
Or you still think the fight's within the Cowboys, or do you think Philly's a legit threat to win this division?
I don't like if the Cowboys lost to Philly. I would, to your point, I wouldn't feel sick. I wouldn't feel like they just beat it. I would feel like the Cowboys tied a hand behind their back and closed it one eye. I mean, like they made this fight difficult on purpose. And maybe that's just like compartmentalizing and dealing with the like emotional anguish. But I mean, I really am very interested. This is kind of an experiment. Like this is an experiment of like, how much does a quarterback really matter? Like not that obviously we know it's incredibly important, but like, can if you have 1 of 53, the Cowboys have the better quarterback. So it's like, what matters? The 1 out of 53 or the 52 out of 53? What can truly win? Because that's what the Cowboys and Eagles are this year. It's Dak and a bunch of dudes, and I don't mean to dismiss the likes.
No,
of
I know what you're saying. No, I got
like that. Right. But there's no question that the floor of Philly's roster is much higher. So, like, what team building strategy is important? Can you really, if you're the Eagles, can you truly be elite if you have an elite roster but you don't have an elite quarterback? So it's kind of an interesting social experiment. I wish it hadn't come to this. I wish the Cowboys had realized the opportunity that they had in front of them. But instead, they've chosen to say, you know what? The best team in the division, yeah, they have an elite roster, but Rudy in San Antonio knows they don't have a quarterback. So we can just chill. We can just coast. We don't have to study for this test. We'll just show up on the day of it and get a 72 and pass and move on to next semester. They have no interest. This never happened to me, but obviously some parents talk to their students or their kids and say, we want you to get A's. Yeah, get A's. Like, well, don't settle for just passing grades. The Cowboys are all about settling. Whatever passing grades are, as long as they're relevant around Christmas time, that's really all they care about.
Well, I want to end on a positive note, RJ, and I will say this: being a Chicago Bear fan, I know what it looks like when you have a return man from Mars that have that vision, that have that. It's just a reaction type thing, and they found that in Turpin. And again, he's been doing it since he was 6 years old. I don't think that was a fluke the other night in LA. I think he's the real deal. He did it at TCU, did it at high school. But Turpin is a Martian, and I think he will win a game or two for them. And I think he'll make an ass out of a few special teams coaches this season. I think that if there's one bright spot from this offseason, it's Turpin is the real deal. That's not a fluke. That wasn't luck.
I think I agree with that.
You think?
He's obviously got a troubling. Well, I mean,
the past, like, yes, for sure.
It depends, because you're right. I could see him winning a game. We've seen that happen. We've seen special teams or returners swing games, win games, final moments, the miracle of the Meadowlands Part 2, whatever. So I think that's definitely possible. I guess where I ultimately come back to is I don't know that that's enough in the grand scheme of things.
Oh, no, I don't think so either. Right.
But that's, it's like saying, you know what, Rudy, somebody commissioned us to make this amazing meal, right? We need a 5-course meal. And we're like, you know what, guys, the appetizer, the sorbet, whatever, we don't really care about that. We make some incredible Brussels sprouts, like the steak, the fish, the surf and turf, whatever. We're just going to heat that up in the microwave. But these Brussels sprouts, they're going to change your life. Why is this the thing that you're
That's a great analogy. Screw the rest of the meal, but these Brussels sprouts were awesome. You know what? That's a great analogy, RJ.
And sometimes, sometimes side dishes can carry a meal or whatever.
For sure.
And that's, I know that wasn't your point, but
no,
maybe
I got you.
He will. But it will probably all be for naught. And that's to the point they should have identified there's somebody like Kevontae Turpin that we can go out to carry another element of our team. We can make another phase of the ball elite. So we can have an elite offense, an elite defense, and an elite special teams. We don't have to make it more difficult on ourselves, but they did that on purpose.
RJ, let me tell you something, man. I'm going to give you your flowers, man. I've enjoyed your Cowboy coverage on Instagram. It's been all the way in the woods. I trust your word more than I trust anybody's. I've enjoyed it. Stay consistent. Stay on top of it. I'll be checking in with you throughout the season, man, and keep doing what you're doing, man. It's much appreciated, and it comes from a good place. It's not just you just throwing stuff out there. It's facts and things to back it up, man. So keep doing what you're doing, man, and hopefully we'll talk to you throughout the season.
One love, Rudy. I would love that. And I will continue to be active on Instagram as long as you promise to post black and white photos of yourself smoking cigars. That's all I ask for in exchange. I just need that kind of mob mafia, return.
I got you, my man. RJ Ochoa, Blogging the Boys. Love RJ. Great guy.